I never thought I'd own a three-wheeled motorcycle. Not once. In fact, you'd asked me years ago, would I be riding today? I would have laughed if someone said a Spyder. Not only would I have laughed, I probably would have told you that would never happen. Because like a lot of riders, I had opinions, very strong opinions about three-wheel motorcycles. Opinions based on things I had never actually experienced. And looking back, that's probably the first lesson this machine taught me. Because in my mind, three wheels were for people who couldn't handle a motorcycle anymore. At least, that's what I thought. And then one day I realized something that changed everything. I didn't need three wheels because I had stopped being a rider and couldn't handle a motorcycle. I needed three wheels because I wasn't ready to stop. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kevin, low budget Spyder rider. Today, the conversation really isn't about the Spyder. It's about a conversation that a lot of riders eventually have with themselves. Some have it at 40, some at 60. And for those truly mature riders, even 7 to 80 years old. But sooner or later, many of us face the same question. What happens when the body starts negotiating with our passion to continue riding? And that's the day that everything starts to change. Because this isn't really a motorcycle conversation. It's a conversation about freedom, an identity conversation, and maybe even a conversation about what we're willing to do to keep doing the things that we love. Most riders think they'll know when it's time. We imagine some dramatic moment. The moment where our doctor tells us it's time for us to quit riding motorcycles. Maybe it's due to a serious injury or possibly a near-death experience or a huge event that we weren't prepared to face. But that's usually not how it happens. Instead, it's little things. We start noticing the bike feels heavier. We start looking for those level parking spots. We become more aware of gravel and uneven riding surfaces. We think about where we're going to put our foot down when it's time to stop. We wonder if we'll have enough strength to even pick the bike up if it should fall. Nothing dramatic, just little whispers. Maybe you've experienced some of those whispers yourself. Maybe not. But if you've ridden long enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The ride didn't change. We changed. Just a little. And for the first time, we realize time has been moving while we weren't paying attention. And most of us ignore these whispers because we can be a bit stubborn. We don't quit. We adapt. We tell ourselves we have to push through. We tell ourselves we're fine. This'll pass. Even when we know something major has changed with our bodies. But here's the hard truth. We don't fear getting older. We fear losing our freedom. Because riding has never really been about the motorcycle. It's always been about what the motorcycle represents for us. Freedom, adventure, independence. For some of us, even our identity. Some of us have been riding for 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 plus years. If you take away the motorcycle, You're not just taking away transportation. You're taking away a big piece of who we are. That's why the thought of switching to three wheels feels so emotional. It's not necessarily a vehicle decision. It's an identity decision. Because somewhere deep down, many of us start asking ourselves a question you don't necessarily want to answer. If I'm not riding the way I used to, who am I? And that can be a much harder question than choosing a motorcycle. Now, once I started paying attention to the changes that I was going through, I noticed something interesting. The loudest opinions about spiders almost always came from people who had never ridden one, myself included in the beginning. But the riders who switched, their stories were different. I started reading forums, talking to different riders, listening to people who had actually made the transition. Some switched because of bad knees, some because of balancing issues, some after injuries, and even some after experiencing a close call riding a traditional motorcycle. Some simply wanted to keep riding with their spouse. Others weren't dealing with physical limitations at all. They just found a different way to enjoy the road. One rider even said he switched after realizing he could no longer pick up his motorcycle if it tipped over. Another admitted to me that after an accident, he just wasn't comfortable on two wheels anymore and wanted to enjoy touring again by riding three. What struck me wasn't the machines, it was the honesty of the individual riders. These weren't people giving up. These were people refusing to quit.